Welcome back to Baby Takes. As you can see, it's a very special edition of Baby Takes as we are back together once again. We're here for family pictures. Zach came all the way down from Iowa. Pretty excited to get this stuff done. They're going to look pretty good. So today on the docket, we have our biggest questions for this year's Nebraska team. And then the next Nebraska video you see will be the highly anticipated record prediction. So pretty excited for that. But before we start, wanted to mention, like and subscribe. Helps us out a ton. If you like this content, I've been posting shorts on here as well. Just subscribe to it. As I mentioned with the shorts, I'm posting daily content on all the social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, as I said, with YouTube shorts. And to make sure you follow all our socials because we got updates. As I said, we got the content, the reels, the shorts, the TikToks, everything. And I want to mention another announcement. But before we start, Zach, you got anything?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw my tweet, but pretty much this is what it was. It was like, for a lot of people, this world this year has been freaking Debbie Downer, just kicking them while they're down over and over again. And I don't know, there's something about Husker football in 19 days away and counting.
Crazy.
It's just bringing the world back together.
Yeah. So super excited for that. And also on Facebook, Zach tried it out yesterday. I saw he posted in one of the groups that probably a lot of you are in, if you guys had any questions. We're going to be doing that hopefully with a lot more videos coming up. And if you guys want to see some different things, ask the question and you might get featured on the pod. So last thing before we start, once the season starts, we're going to be back to weekly Nebraska content. We're going to go over the game that just happened, and we're going to predict the next game, talk about that. Once a week.
News, of course.
Of course. We're going to do that once a week, and then also sprinkled in is going to be some Baby Takes fantasy football content. As you guys saw, I've been doing the daily content with the fantasy football was this week with the breakout players. Having a super fun time recording that video. So super excited for fantasy football to be back. A lot more content on the way as the season starts. But yeah, I'm ready to get into it. So, Zach, I'll let you start. What is your biggest question for this year's Nebraska team?
Last year, as a lot of you know, we were a defensive-led, defensive-carried team.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see that transitioning into this year, or do we see us being an offensive powerhouse as a team, or more of a defensive, or more of a balanced team?
Sure. What would you rather be? Would you rather be defensive, offensive, balanced?
I'd rather be balanced with a slight edge on defense.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that's just Big Ten football,
Yeah.
So, yeah, on paper, this defense isn't as good as last year's, right? You don't have JoJo. You lost Cam Taylor-Britt. But I think in terms of depth, Luke Reimer getting better, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Heinrich getting better. Ty Robinson hopefully having that breakout year. Yeah, the pass rusher, Ochaun Mathis, Garrett Nelson getting better. The defensive backfield getting better and deeper. Hopefully Miles Farmer can take that step up. Tommy Hill looks really good. So I'm super excited to see what the defense can do this year, and I think it can actually be better than it was last year, along with our offense being better. I don't want to get too excited, but looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, but if our defense took a step down and our offense took a step up, are we just a balanced team now, or is our offense better?
Well, I think we would prefer to be a balanced team, but there's just so many question marks, which we'll address today, obviously, on the offense.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what it's going to be, which it leads me to my next question. It was announced this year, a few months ago, that Scott Frost isn't going to be the one calling the plays anymore. He came out and said that it's a stretch to say he wouldn't be involved in the play calling, but Mark Whipple is going to be making the play calls.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is smart.
Sure. I want to see what the play call is going to look like. Because you see with Scott Frost, he wants to get the run game going, but he also wants to do these trick plays, not necessarily trick plays, just creative plays.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw him start doing that, started having some success. Is Mark Whipple just going to bring in this pass-heavy offense to the Big Ten that I don't really know how much of that would work? Depends on what Casey Thompson can do. Depends on what all wide receivers can do.
Here's my thought about calling plays as the head coach at a school like Nebraska. All right, if you go to a school like NAIA, JUCO, D3, high school, and you're the head coach, you should be calling the plays. You should. Almost as soon as you start clicking into that D1 level. As a head coach at most, unless you're Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, unless you're the best of the best, hand the play calling off to someone else. Because there's so many more moving parts as the head coach. You're like the CEO, I like that the head coaches at these high-level schools are taking that CEO role. Because that's what you should take. And you should take the leader role. I think a good coach is a coach that can successfully coach any sport with a good assistant staff. He doesn't have to be a great football guy to be a great football coach. He's got to be a good leader, a good motivator, and hold his guys accountable. And when it comes to the football, you hire 20 skills coaches for that. Like, that's not your job. Your job is to motivate, lead, and make sure these guys are doing the right things on and off the field and oversee everything. That's your job.
I mean, it also depends, though, because, like, you see these NFL coaches.
Well, yes,
like,
once you get to the NFL,
the best ones are the ones that are calling the plays and making the game plans and stuff like that.
But at the college, because at the NFL, these guys are all grown men. You know, there's no way to keep them.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But at the college level, like these are kids.
Right, and I think Nick Saban is a good example of that. I don't think he has any say in the play calling. He's a defensive guy, so. But yeah, I mean, I think he still makes the game plan.
I mean, you can structure
but also,
the game
like,
plan, you can watch film.
Head coaches are really good recruiters too.
Yes, that's what you need to be best at, is getting these raw talent guys there and letting because it's always been said the way to get to the top is to hire a bunch of people that are better than you, below you. And so same way with the head coach, just hire a bunch of skill position guys that know football better than you and just get their raw talent for them, lead them, motivate them, oversee everything, make the game plan, and let them run free with their position.
Yeah, no, I like that. Obviously, Mark Whipple's had a ton of success as a play caller. So,
and that's one of the big reasons I think this year could have a lot of success, is because Scott Frost has taken the role that Scott Frost can really succeed in, and that's the CEO role of Nebraska.
I hope so. I'm a big fan of Scott Frost. I want Scott Frost.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying, as a play caller, I think he's too risky and he gives up too fast.
Yeah, he's pretty conservative.
I think he gives up too fast.
We saw it last year. Once he got, up there in the lead, he would kind of just, we don't want to lose the lead. Instead of, we want to add on to our lead.
Yeah,
I think that was a big problem.
He'll be like, oh, that play hasn't worked. Screw it.
Right.
Hold a different game plan. Right. Hold a different game plan. Hold a different game plan.
I like Scott Frost. Obviously, we
too.
both want Scott Frost to succeed. We both want Scott Frost to be the best coach of all time. We just haven't seen that so far. But, yeah, I think Mark Whipple is going to have some success play calling. I think he's going to have a little adjustment period going from, the ACC to the Big Ten. But I think once we get that down, we can really have a good year. So what do you got next?
I'm going to go, is Casey Thompson going to live up to the hype? Because I'm not saying he wasn't a good quarterback last year. He led the Big 12 in passing.
Passing touchdowns, yeah.
Passing touchdowns, which is saying something because Texas is like probably the least passing team in the Big 12.
Bijan Robinson, yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
And so that's saying something. But it's not like he just created a whirlwind of hype last year.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think the hype is coming from
he's not
Nebraska.
He's not a huge name, right? He wasn't one of those big name
he wasn't.
That was leaving.
I think he was probably, I don't know. It's tough to remember off the top of my head, but you got like Caleb Williams transferring, Dylan Gabriel transferring. So yeah, he's not. I don't think he's on that level, but I think if there was a tier below, I think he would be that because, he led a Power 5 conference in passing touchdowns, and he had a torn ligament in his thumb. Mm-hmm. That's reasonable. It's a reasonable excuse to why he maybe didn't look the best as sometimes, but he's shown that he can be legit.
And no, I don't want.
Right, obviously we're not bashing on Casey Thompson. He's our quarterback, but.
I mean, especially because Big Ten is so much different. Like, the pass rush is going to be so much more relentless.
He is. He's getting a lot of hype. But that's, I think, what you got to expect when you come to a school like Nebraska, where someone had a really good comment on our one of our YouTube shorts. They said we were talking about the delusional fan bases, and they're like, "What's the same thing about all these fan bases? They've all won a national championship."
Yeah.
Once you get that little taste of winning, that's all you expect. So when a guy of Casey Thompson's caliber comes in, he's like, this is the best quarterback we've had since Tommy Armstrong, maybe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's going to get that hype, but I think he's prepared for it, listening to him talk and listening to the way he's going about things. I'm pretty excited. I think Casey Thompson's going to have a successful year, but yeah, he is getting a lot of hype, and I hope he lives up to it, but even if he doesn't, I don't think that's a disappointment for a season.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So my next one is, who starts at running back? You know, I think the running back room is going to go like game to game.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so many guys that are situationally best for that role.
Yeah.
I think Gabe Irvin maybe doesn't start right away, coming right off that really bad injury last year. Anthony Grant, super excited for him. You know, transfer from JUCO, the JUCO Player of the Year last year. He's a really kind of balanced back. You got Ramir Johnson, receiving back, the best receiving back we've got. You got Yant, he's going to be the goal line back. I mean, obviously, the dude's a tank. So you just got all these guys that can really compete. I don't think it's a problem. It's a good problem to have. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that true bell cow back that a lot of other teams have. But with the running game, it can really help us, I think, because we got all these fresh legs coming in every down, every 2 downs. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. There's so many.
And not necessarily like I think Anthony. My prediction is Anthony Grant starts at running back.
Is he the JUCO guy?
Yeah, I predict he starts, but
I think Jacques Yant will start at running
really?
back, and then Anthony Grant will later take over. I
Okay.
think the guy that has
the guy that's been there, sure,
will start.
That's fair. That's a fair assumption. I just think Anthony Grant is probably the most complete back out of the group, and I think, you say he's been there, but it's also Mark Whipple's bringing in a lot of new plays. You know, they're all learning together. Yes, Yant may have the most knowledge of Scott Frost.
When you just said they're all learning together, did you see what Scott Frost said the other day? I really liked it. He said, in a lot of places I've coached, when we bring in a bunch of transfers, it tends to get an old versus new kind of like rivalry going on. So that's not even close to what's happening.
All just working together.
They're all it's not old versus new. It's just Nebraska football.
Right, and that's what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that pumps me up. So, yeah, go with your quarterback question because I want to hear this one.
This is kind of not an uplifting question, and it's for the end of the season. Who transfers out?
I mean, I think there's an obvious answer. You know, in my opinion, I think Logan Smothers is gone.
Yeah. I
mean, unless I hope he stays. Love the dude. Love the kid. But there's not a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, unless there's something I'm not seeing. Because what I'm hearing out of camp is it's Casey Thompson 1, Chuba Purdy 2.
Logan but Smothers 3, and then
they have Heinrich Harburg's coming up. Richard Torres is coming up. You know.
Yeah. What about those guys?
Right. Like
Harburg's got to be gone.
Maybe. I don't know. He's a developmental guy, so we'll see if he takes that jump. But no, but they did say they see a world where all 3 quarterbacks can be on the field. Not together, but like this year. Like there's going to be packages where Logan Smothers can be in because he's the best runner for sure.
Yeah.
Out of the 3. So I'm excited. I mean, that just brings more creativity, more uniqueness. Maybe. I mean,
that makes you
does it though? He can be a decoy where like, oh, they're bringing Logan Smothers in. It's a read option or like it's a run. And then he, goes over the top. Hits Trey Palmer for a 90-yard touchdown.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it brings a whole dynamic of unpredictability, and I think it helps a lot. So, yeah, I'm excited to see that, but also with the crowded running back room, someone's got to be gone. Maybe. I mean, unless we run this 3-headed monster and be the best rushing team in the nation. I don't know. But we already saw it. Marquise Stepp is gone. So I'm sure we'll see another guy dip. But my next question goes to the defense. And we've heard the coaches say the 3 best players on defense are Garrett Nelson, Ochon Mathis, and Caleb Tanner.
Yeah.
They all play the same position. So I think...
But I almost think Caleb Tanner can take that Isaiah Simmons role. You know what I mean?
I mean, we just haven't seen any reason why he would do that. Like, he's got athleticism, sure.
He can.
But he can play off. He's he could probably be the best off-ball linebacker out of those three. But he has been like a pass rusher type his whole career. So I think there's a lot of packages where we can line Garrett Nelson and Caleb Tanner on the same side, or like Caleb Tanner and Ochon Mathis, or even line Ochon Mathis.
Like I don't want to say a TJ Watt because like that's like a...
That's what Garrett Nelson's really doing. Garrett Nelson and Ochon Mathis. Like Ochon Mathis is going to be a pass rusher every time. He's going to be the edge rusher. He's probably the best true edge rusher we have on our team. Garrett Nelson's probably the best outside linebacker we have on our team. You know, just as a pure defensive like edge setter type. So I think there's a lot of possibilities where Garrett Nelson can, you know, get these blitz packages. He goes outside, Caleb Tanner loops around, it goes inside. There's just so much that we could do. And I'm not sure if I like the problem that we have where our three best players play the same position. It's not like defensive backs where you can have them all on the same field at the same time. These are outside linebackers, and if you have three outside linebackers on the field at the same time, some position groups gotta suffer because we usually run
rush Garrett
two
Nelson
inside backers, two inside backers, two outside backers, two corners, two safeties, right? Four down linemen.
Yes, sure, but
so I mean
nothing sticks.
Sure,
right?
You can run a multiple.
But Mathis and Nelson can rush every time, right?
Yeah.
They can play that Von Miller, TJ Watt role.
Sure.
Caleb Tanner can play that. I don't want to say Isaiah Simmons because he would drop into pass coverage a little more than I would want Caleb Tanner to drop into pass coverage.
Yeah.
But a little modified in that.
I think what you're saying is like it's gonna sound crazy, like a downgraded light version of what Micah Parsons does.
Yeah.
Like Micah Parsons rushes off the edge, but most of the time he plays off-ball linebacker and he blitzes and he can even drop back in coverage and
for like the little hook. I just am not wanting Caleb Tanner to drop back. Safety.
No, obviously not. He's not JoJo Doman.
Yeah.
He's not Nate Gary. Congratulations to Nate Gary, just signed today to the Washington Commanders. Saw that. Caleb Tanner, though I think he has enough athleticism to cover a tight end and cover.
I think you can play him all on the field every down.
It's going to be tough to put him on the field every down because you still got Reimer and Heinrich, who are inside backers. You still got Miles Farmer in the back. You got Tommy Hill on one side. You got Omar Brown playing safety or corner. And we got just so much depth at defensive back. You got to have at least 4 defensive backs on the field at one time. Yeah. I guess if it's like goal line, obviously you're not going to have 4 defensive backs. But I think it'd be really tough to have Caleb Tanner, Garrett Nelson, and Ochon Mathis on the field.
Well, Tanner will be on the field every down. That's got to be a fact.
You think so? I mean, I think it probably goes Garrett Nelson, Ochon Mathis, and then third is Caleb Tanner.
Really? Okay.
I mean, Caleb Tanner is a beast, and he knows Eric Shenander's defense. He's been there for a long time, but I'm just saying. He's been there for a long time.
For 8 years, honestly.
But Garrett Nelson shown that he could start every down last year. And Ochon Mathis was obviously the number 1 edge transfer in the class. So he's going to be there.
That's true.
Maybe you take Ochon Mathis out in obvious running situations because Ochon Mathis is coming from the Big 12 where they didn't run the ball a lot. We don't know how good he is in run defense. So we'll have to see. But, yeah, that's why it's a question because we just don't know, right?
What I'm hearing, though, is that our defense is going to be dang good.
Yeah. I mean, if your 3 best players are on the edge, usually a really good defense starts at the edge. You know, TJ Watt is the reason the Steelers have a good defense. If you take TJ Watt, that's the worst defense in football. So, just saying, I think our defense has a really good shot at being really good. Another question I have is, as I mentioned, the defensive backfield is loaded.
Yeah.
I want to know
depth all around.
I want to know who starts day one. You know, at the corner, at the safeties, at the nickel. So I think the for sure guys that are starting are Quentin Newsome. He has a lot of experience, probably the most experience out of that group. Miles Farmer, Omar Brown, who's a transfer, and then Marquez Buford is who I think are the for sure guys that are gonna get the most playing time.
Yeah.
But then you got guys like.
I think
Tommy Hill
in there.
You know, Isaac Gifford is probably going to be the nickel
I mean, sure, Tommy Hill hasn't proven a lot, right? He doesn't
Yeah.
have a whole lot of playing time under his belt or anything. But just raw
Yeah, no, he was a
talent.
former 4-star.
Raw talent.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what Tommy Hill can do. But yeah, there's just so much because even you got Noah Pola Gates, who's been there for 3 years now, or 3 or 4 years. So I just don't know. I mean, there's so much depth there, and which is a good problem to have. I think you look at running backs, you got a lot of depth. You're like, is there really a true number one guy? But
Yeah.
with the defensive backfield, you have a lot of depth. That's fresh bodies just in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're going to have your number one guy, which I think is probably going to be Quentin Newsome this year.
For sure. Miles Farmer.
You're going to have those guys in the most, and Quentin Newsome's probably never going to come off the field. But you got a whole lot of packages you can run. Nickel package, dime package, regular package, So I just think it's a really good problem to have. I'm just excited to see who starts day one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what's your last question?
I'm going to go the big one here, the one everyone wants to know.
Obviously.
Are special teams finally fixed? I don't know.
You would hope so. You got the
I'm
punter.
tired of losing games via
Oh my
special
gosh.
teams.
You bring in the punter that we have right now, Brian
The kicker.
Duchenne. The kicker we have right now. How many? We won 7 games last year?
Yeah.
Like, every single game. Like, let's take the Michigan State game, for example.
You know what?
We have Brian
so
Buschini.
glad. A lot of teams
That
don't
game's
do
done.
what we did. A lot of teams don't do what we did. A lot of teams do not have a special teams coordinator, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not that important. But it is clearly shown to us that whoever was on our staff that ran it, I'm not trashing anyone because they're running 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It's either like an O-line coach and special teams or running back coach, special teams, something like that. But I'm so glad we have a special teams coordinator because it really is transferring to a game where special teams is such a turning
Oh my
point.
gosh. Yeah.
It didn't used to be. It never used to be.
I mean,
It
special
used-
teams always been important,
It's always been important, but never such a turning
Right.
point.
especially last year. We probably beat Ohio State if we have a good kicker last year.
Iowa, for sure. Michigan, probably.
Michigan State, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Oklahoma,
little things like that.
Oklahoma.
like Coach Bush and Scott Frost. That's another thing. You mentioned Scott Frost taking the CEO role. He said he's going to spend a lot of time with special teams. So super excited for that. And also with Coach Bush. I am super excited, but also I don't want to get my hopes up. Which I think is the motto for Nebraska football. Super excited, but don't want to get my hopes up.
Yeah, I've already fallen too deep in that hole.
So I think
I'm digging myself deeper every day.
we got what the punter of the year, the JUCO punter, or was it D2 punter of the year or JUCO?
Yeah,
I think it was D2. D2 punter of the year,
and the
Buschini.
JUCO.
And a really good kicker from Fordham, and a new freshman from actually home state Blue Valley North,
Technically a 5-star kicker.
who's been working out with Harrison Butker.
Technically
So-
a 5-star kicker. They don't put stars
Sure,
on
they don't-
kickers.
yeah.
But that's why. But he is. If they were to, he'd be a 5-star kicker.
Right, and he's been working out with Harrison Butker, I've seen, so
Really.
pretty excited for that. But yeah, I mean, and we got one of the best returners in the nation in Trey Palmer, depending on if he's returning kicks for us, which I hope
Yeah.
he is. I just don't want him to get hurt because right now it seems like he's our wide receiver 1 too. So we're gonna have to see with that. But yeah, I think our special teams is destined to at least. I mean, obviously it's gonna get better. Couldn't be much
I'm
worse.
not saying we're going to come out here and take 12 kickbacks for
Right,
touchdowns, right? I don't even care if we take a kickback for a touchdown.
I want us to not lose games because of special teams.
I don't care if we take punts back for touchdowns. I don't care.
I don't care if we fair catch every single punt.
Yeah.
I just don't want to drop any. I don't want our punter to kick the wrong way. I don't want our field goal kicker to make less than 50% of his kicks.
Yeah.
I
Chip
don't-
ins gotta be makes. Extra points gotta be makes.
Yeah.
If it's 35, 40 plus and you make it, congrats. If you miss it barely, cool. I mean, totally
Yeah.
understandable. Whatever.
If it's a 15-yard field goal to put yourself up by 2 scores and you shank it,
Yeah, that's gotta be better.
like, that's ridiculous. But I expect it to be better. I really do. Obviously, I think it's 100% going to be better. It can't get much worse. So
It's gotta be better.
It's the question
Will
of
it be acceptable?
how much better, right?
Will it be
And
acceptable?
yeah, I mean, I think that's the question that everybody has on their minds. Besides, like, you know, how good is Casey Thompson going to be and stuff. But yeah, that's all the questions we got. If you guys have any questions,
Also, I do have just a little throwing it out there. I don't know if I'll catch any buzz on it. But if there's anyone in Iowa, mostly like central around Des Moines area, that knows of a legit Nebraska watch party put on by like the Nebraska Alumni Association, just comment it down below so I can watch some games with you guys.
yeah, no, that's super fun because we got it here.
Yeah, we
It's
got it
pretty
here,
good.
and so they used to have it in Des Moines,
Okay.
in a place called the Chicken Coop, and
They don't have it anymore.
So the Chicken Coop moved
Mm.
and got new owners, and the new owners dropped it.
Oh, okay.
They still pack the place with Nebraska fans on a Saturday, and I'm sure I'll go there and hang out with those guys. But it's just a different feel when you get to walk in, you get a ticket, and they're handing out prizes and stuff like that. It's a different feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably go to that one,
Or we can host our own,
depending
on how much feedback we get from Nebraska fans in Iowa.
Iowans for Nebraska, baby. Iowans for Nebraska. That's a group, and I'm here for it.
Let's do it. But yeah, so as I said before, follow all the socials. We got daily content here, and on YouTube where we can like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. If you haven't liked this video and you've made it this far, what are you doing? Obviously, if you made it this far, you like this video at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you want to see more videos, just hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you know
the bell,
exactly
baby.
when we upload, and comment down below what your biggest question is for this year's Nebraska team. And in 2 weeks, we will be back with our record predictions, and after that, it's an every week thing. Super excited to get into the season. And yeah, that's all I got. You got anything else?
That's all for me.
All right. Peace.